So I've also had a lot of fear coming up around money again. Like I had that great insight about, feeling like I already have everything, and having the house that's for sale and then starting to do the Airbnb. But still, then, that was really exciting. But then I was still back to like, okay, but yeah, it's great to have some money coming in, but it's still nowhere enough to pay for like my debt. And then I start, then it starts feeling like a business. Like, oh my gosh, I have to like crunch numbers and like, how can I make this more lucrative? And I'm like, wait, that wasn't the energy with which I started it. It wasn't. It was like to create a temple in a beautiful space, and yeah, it's great to have money coming in from that, but it wasn't like that wasn't the point. And it like loses all joy for me when I was in that space. Um, but and then as the fear of the money was coming up, I was also noticing that I was starting to feel like, again, like maybe I'm not doing anything. Like, am I just wasting time? Like, I really need to get a fucking regular job. And my cousin actually called me, and it was really, she just reminded me that, like the most important thing is like, just like, are you making the world a better place? Like when you interact with people, are you leaving them a little bit better than they were before? Like that's valuable, you know? And I just realized that I've been like kind of in my head with like feeling like, yeah, am I really doing anything of any value? Like there's no one can really see it, and I have nothing to show for it, and maybe I'm just kidding myself that like this inner work that I'm doing has any meaning. And this show like uh but I one really great thing that happened, like, so my guests that came, the first guests, like they were great, and it was so unexpected. I ended up, you know, um sharing part of what I'm going to perform while we were all like looking at this red moon over the water. And they just asked me like, yeah, why don't you share your story with us right now? And so I shared it completely spontaneously. And I just realized like every moment is a moment that is available to share what I'm doing. It's like, it's not like, oh, on October 15th I'm going to present this thing and I'm going to channel the earth. It's like we're always connected to this divine energy that wants to move through us and express. And anytime there's an invitation and an opening to share and have a sacred experience with someone or the land or whatever, or yourself, like it's available. And what was really neat is so I kept thinking, I really like picturing like these costumes, and like, because I'm really into like beauty and I like the glamour of it, and I like designing things. And I was talking to one of the guests about, like, yeah, so how do you, I was just saying that I was like picturing a costume and a whole headdress, but I didn't know how to design it. And she said, I picture you just being very natural, like the way that you are now, because I feel like anything like that would distract just from like, it's really more about like what you're saying. And I just really felt the truth of that. And again, it went back to like, I keep picturing this performance as this big production, but just like when I was, the weekend that I was thinking I need to write a script for like this performance, like make a whole show. And it's like, it's not a script. It's channeling what wants to come through. It's just who I am. It's the stories are stories of like that I already know, and maybe one day it will be a production where like there's lights and a costumes, but I don't have to worry about it now. It's like I don't have to think, oh, there's a show coming up, so now I have to make this costume and like make this slideshow and do this music. And it's like, again, going back to like everything I need is already within me and it's already available, and it doesn't have to be like I need to get to this place that I'm not at already. And yeah, that's not where real creation happens from. It's realizing that I don't need to do anything. I'm enough as I am. And this performance is going to be created from that. I don't have to like have these outer things in place before I can feel ready. Because it's already happening. Like, it already did happen in a sense, I performed it that night. Yes, anyway, so I realized that I've been kind of trying to justify the value of myself, of my beingness, like, that somehow, yeah, I need to explain what I'm doing and like why I'm not, earning money in the normal way. And it's not even just about the money. It's like, like, I'm not writing a book, or I'm not raising a kid. I just feel like I don't have I'm not showing what I'm doing in any way. Like, yeah, I'm like doing the show, but again, just because it's not difficult, I'm realizing because it doesn't feel hard, or like I'm not doing it in this linear way, I'm starting to question whether I'm doing anything at all. And saying it out loud right now, I realize that's the whole fucking point. That's the point of these video series, is to show that creation does not come the way that we were taught. And defying that, demonstrating that is bringing up all of these fears and old ways of thinking in me. Like, the other thing I realized is like, I keep thinking, before, when I was younger, I wanted to, take everything that my parents had done and make something even greater with it, right? Like, okay, they worked their asses off doing something they didn't really enjoy, but they like made it happen, And now they gave us the opportunity to do something that we maybe enjoy and make more money, and then I could like support them and my kids or whatever. And then when I realized, like, that's still the same old paradigm, like, okay, maybe I can like enjoy what I do or be professional a little in ways that they weren't, but that's not really the life I want to live, I don't want to be in that box at all. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to totally go my own way. And I really trust that I'm still going to make money, I'm still going to, and I felt like that's the way I'm going to change things and like really help them. It's by showing my parents and the world that I am doing what I love, and that the money follows from that, But I've been doing that, and since the money hasn't followed, I've started to like really feel the tension of that and be like, oh gosh, maybe I'm like living in a fantasy world, or but I was realizing again today that, I am very much like my parents. Oh, because yeah, when I started to think I'm living in a fantasy world, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just being lazy. I don't have a work ethic, I'm like trying to be in the present moment, but really it's just like I've lost, yeah, like pretty much I'm just being lazy and selfish, and like like that you just can't do it in this world. And I'm using up my parents' resources, and if I keep going like this, like I'll never be able to support myself, and someone will always have to support me, and this is just bad, this is going backwards. But I realized today that, what really made my parents successful, like one of the things they really gave to me was their courage. It was their courage and their faith in like believing that they could do something even when other people thought that they couldn't. And when it seemed like they had no other support, they had each other, but that was pretty much it for a while. And I realized I am doing that. Like, talking about, I work a lot with ancestry, and it's about like retaining the value of your past, the strengths, your inheritance, divine and biological. It's like the same thing. Really soaking it in and using it, while at the same time leaving behind the patterns that don't serve, that are ready to be mutated and evolved. And I just realized today, like, that strength that they have that I admire, and that I was like just really starting to get down on myself, like that I'm failing and I'm like wasting everything that I worked so hard for. I'm just like wasting it away. Because I kept thinking about, like, you always hear like rich